Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mike, host of the Free iTunes podcast, Psychiatric Secrets Revealed with Dr. Mike, but that's not why I'm here today. This is another Saving Savvy episode, and the topic of this episode is, hey, don't worry, the DSLR is not dead. Shocking, I know, but we'll talk about that more later. Please get at least into this video a little bit before you write a comment thinking that you know what I'm saying, because you probably don't. So I haven't made a video for a while for a couple of reasons. One, I just had surgery on my eye, and I look kind of beat up. I mean, look, no one was ever offering me modeling contracts, I know, but I thought I have this big bloodshot eye now, so I can't make a video. And this is going to go on for at least 6 weeks. The second thing is that I've been building out a cargo van and turning it into a camper, which has been just tremendous fun. And maybe I'll do a video on that just because this is a diverse channel, but not today. So I've wanted to do this video for a while, and I really want to highlight some points. So if you look at the pundits that are out there in photography land, the husband and wife couple, the guy with big hair, the guy from Australia, and on and on and on and on, you've seen this path that has occurred over the last year or two, where a year or two ago people were saying that mirrorless cameras would never overtake DSLRs, and DSLRs had certain qualities like their lengthy battery life and the fact that their viewfinders did not turn off when they were off, and other things that made them much more desirable for professional shooters. Well, of course, that has all shifted now, where really the implication is the DSLR is dead. It's gone. It's out the door, and everyone should be changing to mirrorless systems. Of course, Sony is number one, but now we have other competition. We have the Nikon systems, or the cameras that we have, the new Canon full frame camera that's out. So it looks like the writing is on the wall, but I'm here to say, do not panic. Don't sell all your gear unless you hate it and need new gear, because it is not dead. And that is for an important reason. The difference is that most consumer electronics, and I consider these cameras as consumer electronics, they are basically computers. They are more silicon than anything else, right? So most consumer electronics do have a lifespan, but how quickly they die depends on their use. So if we let's look at some examples. We can look at analog television. If you live in the United States, for the entire history of television, most of us received analog signals, either over the airways or through cable. And a few years back, all the systems changed to digital. And although you could do some conversions, the reality was that if you had an analog tube TV, it was time to get rid of it and get a nice flat panel of some sort, TV that was able to receive digital signals. Why? Because you can no longer use that TV effectively, because it was a product that consumed. Let's talk about some other things. How about cassettes, musical cassettes, not audio, just talking cassettes, and let's say 8-track, another audio form, or even reel-to-reel. Well, most people would say that those products are effectively dead. I mean, yes, there's some guy out there that still has an 8-track player, I know, but they're effectively dead. Again, these are things that consume. If you can't buy audio cassettes of the music that you want, or 8-tracks of the music that you want, or whatever, well, then you have to move on to a different format. The same thing could be said of Betamax, that famous, or is it infamous, video cassette that was popular. It was the first home video cassette that was available for consumers in the US. Well, a pretty good format, but it became pretty dead pretty quick when video HS, video home system cassettes, which could play a little bit longer and had pretty similar quality, came out. Why? Well, because you can no longer get the selections of movies and things that you wanted on the Beta Max, the Beta, Sony Beta system. Well, what happened to VHS then? Well, little DVDs came out and pretty much supplanted the need for those particular kinds of devices. So so VHS killed Betamax, and DVDs killed VHS, and so it goes. So we have many, many examples of this in the world of consumer electronics. And so you look at your beautiful Nikon or Canon or Pentax system, or even maybe you have one of those older Sony translucent mirror cameras or whatever, and you say to yourself, holy cow, I got to get rid of it now because it's going to be dead in 6 months and I will lose all my money. But if you're smart, you may want to hold on to it. Of course, the exception being is that you really want to change systems. You really are saying that the benefits of going mirrorless exceed the benefits of staying with your current DSLR system. What's the one scenario that I truly think is the case? Well, it's not small size, because let's face it, the biggest thing that, I was going to use a bad word, the biggest problem that you have with full frame cameras are the lenses, right? That's the biggest problem. The body sizes, in fact, the bigger body is sometimes better. But the one area where the mirrorless cameras really shine is in video. So if you are a video shooter that needs to do high-level video work along with your photography, or maybe in exclusively instead of photography, then of course switching over to a mirrorless system makes total sense. But if you're just a photographer like me who rarely does video but sometimes does it, I have everything that I need in a DSLR. So as you know, I'm a consumer of products, and I do have mirrorless cameras, and I do have mirrorless Sony cameras, and I have Fuji cameras, and I have Micro Four Thirds camera. I'm just a nut, right? I'm a crazy guy who buys cameras. But DSLRs offer great advantages, and as the shift starts to happen, they are actually going to offer more advantages. So remember, we talked about consuming. Well, how are cameras different? Cameras don't consume, they produce. And let's face it, a camera that's even 10 years old, if I look at my 70D, my Canon 70D, or my Nikon D300S, or even a camera that I recently bought, which was a original Canon 5D, just the original one, no mark anything. Those cameras are perfectly usable 10 years later for my needs. Well, what about a camera produced today? If you're doing photography, I think it's a pretty safe bet to assume that 10 years from now, it's still going to be usable. And the big determining factor with these DSLRs is they're built so damn well that they actually work. So my cameras that are now 2012, 2008, whatever those cameras were manufactured, they still work great today because they were built as a real quality item. So if it's going to work from now, or if 10 years from now, pretty good. If the picture quality may not be, or the focus points may not be as good as it's going to be 10 years from now, but certainly good enough, pretty good. I don't need to buy movies for it or music for it. That's not the purpose of this device. It produces things. What do I need for it? Well, I need SD cards, or I need compact, flash cards or whatever. Those are going to be available forever. I can buy 5 of them now and put them in a drawer someplace and be perfectly good forever with those issues. Well, they need glass. But here's the wonderful, wonderful thing. We all know that if we have cameras, the big expense is the glass and the accessories, but really the glass. You can spend more in a single lens than in an entire excellent camera body. Well, these cameras have been producing, or these camera manufacturers have been producing quality, superior glass for decades. So Nikon has lenses that you could probably go back into the 60s and still use. Canon probably has them that go back into the 80s. Pentax, those lenses go back forever. Even Sony, if you have one of the Sony cameras, they use Minolta glass that actually works quite nicely on those Sony bodies. So you can get fantastic glass, maybe not with the latest nano coating, but fantastic glass for dirt cheap prices, superior glass. You can have all the lenses of that you would ever want, right? Because the glass is going to be a lot less expensive than the brand new stuff that has to be developed and marketed and sold with these new cameras, including the Canon and Nikon mirrorless cameras. All the accessories will be compatible, and there are so many accessories. I bought, about a year ago, an original small, I can't think of the number of it right now, but a Canon flash that's been out probably for 15 years. It's on version 3. I bought version 1, obviously used, works just great. So all the accessories are going to be available too. And if you don't have this urge to jump to the latest and greatest, which is not going to make any difference in your photography unless you are so specialized, maybe you need 10,000 focus points because that's what you need. But for most of us, even sports shooters, we don't need that. So if you can just wait a little bit, use advantage, use your brain instead of your urges, and take advantage of the fact that as everyone is leaving the ship, you get to feast on the leftovers, which will be great and plentiful, and your photography is not going to suffer one little bit. So, does that mean I think that 5 years from now they'll be making as many DSLRs as they're making now? No, of course not. The trend is towards mirrorless. That is the way that it is. But what does that mean in the real world? I think it was 2012 Nikon D300S is still going to work the same. My 70D is still going to work the same. But so is my 5D Mark III. So is my Canon D850. They're all going to work the same too. And I will have all these other things that I can look on eBay and buy some great, fabulous lens that I could never afford before because everyone has shifted, the popularity has dropped, and with popularity, drop prices. So anyways, hold on to your gear if you choose. Don't feel bad like you're not current. Don't buy the hype. Don't forget, many of these channels, even the well-intentional ones, have become arms of companies, right? They are there to sell you product. They seduce them by taking them to these exotic places. They give them the cameras early. They need to do this because they need to continue to bulk up their 100,000, 200,000, 1 million subscriptions. Well, that's good for them. And I'm not saying they don't give you good information, because they do give you some good information, but you need to be able to sort through it, and you need to look at your camera purchases and how the changes that you make with a sage eye as opposed to an impulsive urge. With that, I would say have a wonderful day. If you get some time, look at some of my other media things, drmikekuna.com, learn the deep secrets of Dr. Mike Kuna. You can look at or listen to my podcasts, which is Psychiatric Secrets Revealed on iTunes and other places. That's a husband-wife team. I'm the husband, obviously. Or watch my videos. Please subscribe. I had a goal to reach 4,000 subscribers, and I'm now past that by a couple of hundreds. I'm like, woo! I am on fire. Thank you all for doing that. I appreciate it. And I hope you get what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to commercialize this channel at all. I'm just trying to provide information. It's kind of what turns me on. I don't know what turns you on, but I hope you do it. Anyway, goodbye. And I do apologize for the noise out there in my eye. I mean, the reality is that if I didn't make this, they're chipping wood out there. I have a truck out there. They're chopping through trees. But if I didn't make this now, when would I make it? If I wait till my eye cleared up, that would be 6 more weeks. When would I do it? Anyway, so you got to look at me the way I am. Bye, everyone.